Sparks, you love those movies so much. Why don't you take it away?
All right, I guess I will. Hey guys, we're going to talk about the Matrix comics, Volume 2. There's a bunch of different stories. This is basically an anthology collection. I have a list of what we're going through, so we'll just go down through them beat by beat, and we're going to talk about the first one, which is An Asset to the System by Troy Nixey, who is both the writer and the artist. What did you guys think of this one? Asset to the System is
pull it up.
I'm also doing that. It's the one with the guy who wanted to be a cop. He's a security guard who wanted to be a cop. And he gets caught in the middle of a fray between the agent and the rebel.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, both of you, put your guns down. And like they don't give a shit about him because he's in the Matrix.
Yeah.
It ends in this very dreary, depressing.
A lot of them do.
Where he is killed, and you see the overlay of like his letter he was writing about wanting to be a cop, while you are seeing his body exhumed and taken away to be liquefied for the living.
Yeah,
that was chilling, seeing that, seeing in the real world what happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Which does kind of put a little button on our conversation from the Matrix, where like, okay, so yeah, the concept does seem to be that if they are killed this way, they do die, even if their souls might be like something programmable, as we were hinting at earlier. Like, how much do the machines like necessarily reprogram the same people into the Matrix? He still does die in that moment.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, after I saw some are in black and white and some are not. I read a bunch of these and then I stopped reading them and I came back to it. And a bunch of them were black and white. And then they came back to color. And I'm like, have any of these been in color? And I had like a weird freak out where I thought these were all black and white. And then no, they're not.
Yeah. This is a color one. I do think that this one's really good and a pretty good, like, maybe like, honestly kind of feels like it comes out of an answer to the conversation of like thinking about the cops that were in the Matrix scene. And like, what does that mean for the people who are plugged into the Matrix? Well,
it is
they get dumped in flesh.
It's hella sad because it's like the rebel doesn't care as much as like the agent. Like they're both accomplices.
Well, which is kind of the point, is like that does seem to be the logic. Harsh as it may be, and as much as it might make us look at our heroes a little differently, the logic does seem to be that like if the people are in the Matrix and they don't have a hesitation to think that like they are in the Matrix and maybe want out, then they're the enemy, and that's what it is.
Pretty radical. Yeah.
It could, again, like, is there an amount where they understand that like even if a person dies and they are flushed down, like eventually the Matrix programs them back in, or how does that work?
Yeah.
Who knows? But like that does seem like a truth that you are plugged in, you die, you are flushed.
Yeah. There's another instance in this where we see an agent take over a character in a book that has like a relationship with another character, kind of giving like the agents another level of kind of like terrifyingness to the people in the Matrix. Like, just someday the person you're talking to could become an agent.
Right. Having the horror in that moment of watching the agent take over his buddy. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, that was not fun to read.
Yeah.
This next one's my favorite one.
Yeah, so the next one is
Path Among Stones.
A Path Among Stones by, again, Gregory Ruth, who's writer and artist, is the little girl who's talking about the shadows that are coming.
So this is a little girl going to like children's therapy, and what she's experiencing in the Matrix. And it turns out like the therapist knows about the Matrix. And this goes in a way that I didn't expect, because I thought he was going to end up being the bad guy. And I think he was actually a good person who helps people get out of the Matrix in the real world. And then he got taken because people found out. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. This one was awesome, because the little girl's like, it's the shadows. I'm not supposed to tell. And I'm like, oh no, she's going to get taken. It's like, no, this guy's out to help her. And then he gets taken. Oh,
yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I really liked I wasn't too crazy about the art, to be honest. But I did like it for the most part. But seeing the kind of the guy who may not necessarily be a rebel, but might just be like a good program, come in and just be like, I get it. We're gonna help you, and then the agents kind of take that over.
Right. I also am not crazy about the art. I do like that, like, all of these have a kind of like, there's a grunginess to all the art. Mm-hmm. I think it's very good. I think this is a good story of just like the imposition of the presence of the agents.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of makes them into like horror figures.
Yeah. Ben, any thoughts on this one in particular?
Not really. I liked this one, especially with the shadow, but also, I mean, not really. I don't have anything to add besides what you guys have said.
Solid. The next one's one of my favorites, which is There Are No Flowers in the Real World by David Lapham, both writer and artist.
This guy rules.
This is the adventure of Rocket, who is on the ship that has already been attacked by the Sentinels, and his leg is broken in real life. He is the only person still alive on the ship, but he's jacked into the Matrix, so he's trapped, and he's trying to call out to a different operator to come and find his ship and save him. Meanwhile, he is just stuck in the Matrix and waiting
in Arizona.
And it's kind of driving him a little nuts because he's just trying to keep himself going, and he has to keep like tricking himself into believing that he's fine because he's not fine. He's dying, he's starving, he's growing thirstier and thirstier, and that makes him long for like the person he was in love with when he was still a blue pill, when he was still inside of the Matrix. And he goes hunting her down.
You're all suckers, slaves to the machines. You're swimming in vats of gloop with giant tubes shoved up your butts. There are no flowers in the real world.
Yeah.
And then it all culminates with him like finally wanting to like try and get her out with him because he really believes like I'm in love with you, and like I'll show you what reality is. But he finds out that she'd already had contact with an agent, so they've been watching her, and an agent takes her over.
It's so sad because the final image is him getting choked to death by an agent as the phone's ringing.
Yeah.
And the agent says, "I think that was for you," as he dies. Again, another tragic ending.
I think this is a really intense narrative that shows just a lot of really great stuff. Just the concept of like, just all really good setup of like being trapped with like the cord slowly getting closer to his body, and being trapped in the Matrix and trying to find a way to get somebody to find your ship so you can get out, but having to like just make it till then. I think this is all just a really good. This would be an incredible short.
Oh yeah.
I really like the idea that the other operator comes up with, which is the idea of like, you know, your leg is broken in the real world, so just don't think about it. Like, you know, focus to make it not real in the Matrix.
Yeah, you can see when it's like wearing on him on one panel, and then in the next panel he's like reconvinced himself, so he like looks totally fine. Yeah,
but he still can't quench his thirst or his hunger because that's so present in his mind. It's him trying to like chug water while he's and like it just doesn't work. He's like and he like tosses it to the side.
Yeah,
this is a very dense black and white comic too. Like, and it's telling a lot of story.
Yeah, it is.
But like this guy David Lapham, who's like done tons of black and white comics, like he's awesome. He's so good. Yeah, that's what was really.
What's the next one?
The next one is Ben. Any thoughts on that one before we move on? Just because I want to get you in here if you can.
No. So far so good.
You got tired, buddy?
Very.
Yeah.
The next one is Broadcast Depth by Bill Sienkiewicz. Both writer and artist. This one
I have some words on because this one hurt.
Great, take it.
Yeah. So the fact originally like seeing the mom talking about Lisa and just like the very ending and the whole like the Sentinels attacking the ship and her seeing her daughter because they jacked her daughter into the Matrix. They found a way to take someone who was born naturally who was born naturally so they could say hi to her on her birthday, and just the horror on the mom's face when her crew is dead.
Right.
Now, I'm not a really big fan of the art on this one. I like the art in a few later ones that we're going to talk about later. But at the same time, just the sheer, like, just that style of art, it doesn't really mesh with me very well. But the emotion came through when you saw the bodies. And I'm like, oh, no. And she just knew, like, well, we're dead. And they're all dead. And this one is also super, stupid depressing.
Yeah, that was really an interesting moment when they're trying to figure out a way to put a natural born person into the Matrix. And the operator should have known better than to connect her to her mother. Wild. I like this one.
Well, because the operator is her sister.
Oh, that's right.
So they don't know better. They did it together.
Yeah.
It's rough.
And like, she killed because of that. She killed all those people.
Yeah, it's awful. Like, and her mom like communicating that in the panel where she's like, I don't want to tell her what she's done because she's gonna know it and it's gonna haunt her and her sister for the rest of their lives. Like, I just need to tell her that I love them, as she knows she's moments away from death.
Yeah.
Awful, just awful.
Bro, yeah, like these final pages of this little girl showing up on the beach where her mom is, and it's like she's like, "Wow, my daughter, she's gonna watch me die right here, right now."
Yeah,
it's just so tragic.
You know how? Okay, so do you guys remember that scene in the original 1964 Godzilla where the mom is holding the kids and she's saying, "We're gonna go see Daddy real soon"?
Nope.
1964 Godzilla.
You mean 1954 Godzilla?
54 Godzilla. That's what I meant.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know what you're
in the
talking
original Godzilla film where the mom is
Yes.
holding on to her kids and she's trying to comfort them, saying like, "Look, it's that scene like the mom knows she's gonna die. She knows her kid's gonna die. She's like, I don't want this." It's the kind of parental instinct that kicks in where it's like, I don't want my child to be scared and afraid of death. I want it to happen as painless as humanly possible.
Well, the kid's not gonna die.
I thought the kid. No, maybe the kid.
No, the kid's not gonna die because the kid's not there.
Yeah,
She's not physically there.
In this story, the kids aren't gonna die.
All right. To be honest, I read a few of these when I was like half asleep last night, so I might be getting.
The girls are at Zion, and they broadcast trace to where the ship is, but that trace also makes it so that the Sentinels pick up on it, which is an incredible panel by the page, by the way, of the Sentinels in the middle as they turn to find the beacon, but at the same time you're seeing the mom see the octopus and the crab.
Yeah,
really good.
Oof. Either way, that was still just a sad as hell freaking part of this book.
Yeah, Bill Sienkiewicz is definitely like an acquired taste. He did like a lot of like X-Men and like New Mutant stuff in the 80s. And, like he has like a very like painterly style. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that one, as tragic as it is. I think it leaves a really strong impact at the end of it.
Yeah, I get you.
Next is Butterfly by Dave Gibbons,
Woo!
both writer and artist.
Artist of Watchmen.
This is all wordless. This is the panels of you're seeing the parallels of the agents chasing a rebel and a man watering with a butterfly nearby, and then they cross into each other, and ultimately he helps the rebel escape, but at the cost of his own life.
So there is some dialogue. Cheng Zhu had a dream when he woke. He dreamed he was a butterfly.
Right.
Cheng Zhu was unsure. Sorry, this is like written really strangely.
Yeah, because it's written like straight lines.
Basically, the end of it is like he was nor butterfly nor boy. He died because he was in the Matrix or something. Really beautiful art. Like the dialogue, I can't read it.
No, I love the art. I really like Dave Gibbons in general, so this is really cool.
Yeah, mostly just like cool action scenes. Yeah.
What's the next one?
Shoddy?
Let's talk about Day In, Day Out.
This
one is written by Ted McKeever and Karen Grant, and art is done by Ted McKeever.
Right, this is the one with the woman who
Yes.
Wait, which one is this?
Going to work.
She's going to work. She's going to work, and she becomes an agent.
I did like this one.
Monster fight scene, and then she shows up all covered in blood.
Covered in like scars and scratches and like bodies around her. So cool.
They got like tanks showing up in this. Like I didn't see a tank in the Matrix.
I mean, I really like this one because of the ending and how when she wakes up, she's like, I was just going to work, which kind of puts a button on like what happens to people after the agent leaves their body in the Matrix. Is like, do they become the agent, and saying like, it's like, oh, they just go back to their regular lives, and her just seeing traumatized around like a bunch of dead people, and she's all bloody, her outfit's ripped up. It's like, that's kind of traumatizing. You are not yourself for a bit, and the last thing you remember is you just walk into work or about to get run over by a truck, and next thing you know, it's like, where am I? What happened?
It's a cool concept to see because we never see it in the films. Like anytime we see an agent turn back to a person they've already taken over, it's because they've died. But here we get to see like the living person step back in and be like, what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Gibbons' art is gorgeous, but this art style, like Dave Gibbons in this one, were some of the ones I really enjoyed because going back to broadcast deaf, I mean, yes, gorgeous art, but it was hard for me to interpret what was going on sometimes. Whereas this one's like, okay, it's nice, crisp, clean. I can see what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I really, really liked a lot of all of it.
Burning Hope.
Burning Hope is written and drawn by John Van Fleet. This was one of the weaker ones for me personally.
Yeah, I like
this. Is the one with like the Western. Like they want to do like all these different Matrix scenarios, right?
No. This is the one with the little girl
Where they rescue the girl.
Who's presenting in the Matrix as older
Oh,
and an older man, and it involves Link, which is weird.
But
it's not. It doesn't seem to be Link, or at least like it's.
If
not,
that's Link, he's incredibly whitewashed.
It's very whitewashed Link.
It says Link in here, so I also thought that looked weird. Yeah, it's a really dialogue heavy thing about rescuing someone. And I was like, yeah, I agree.
And
I didn't care for it. I don't think the narrative flows as well as it needs to.
I
It's
fell
not
asleep a
structured
lot.
well. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was saying I fell asleep a lot reading this one.
I don't think it's structured very well, and a lot of the action of it is still somehow told rather than shown, which just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I don't need to disparage it too much.
The King of Never Returned, though.
This one is by written and drawn by Ted McKeever, sorry. The King of Never Return is the one that you were thinking of, Brandon. This is the one where they're doing the scenarios. What it is that these are younger people within Zion who have decided that like they kind of hate the Matrix within the machines, but they also kind of hate the way that the rebels run everything in Zion.
They're like a third party.
So they're like, we're just going to steal a ship and we're just going to do what we want within the Matrix. Like, this is cool because this is very much like playing into that sense of youth and like, man, I just want to like do the cool shit that you can do in the Matrix, but without having to worry about the Matrix. Like, I basically want to play the sickest video game ever.
Yeah.
And so they steal a ship and they're going through this, but they know like it's kind of like a last hurrah, even as they don't realize how bad that's going to be for themselves. They're just putting themselves through the program.
I quite like this one. I really like the art. And I think the idea, it's the idea we haven't seen yet of like, oh yeah, there would be rogue people who don't want to live in Zion. I didn't even consider that for some reason. Yeah. Like, obviously it's the apocalypse. You wouldn't want to be on your own, but like the idea that like, oh, we can just be our own Matrix people on our own, like never crossed my mind. And yeah, the idea of like doing different programs, like, oh, we're going to put an agent in a Western and see how we fight them. And like, really cool idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really like
and getting to make yourselves feel like a superhero. They do have a reference in here where they're like, we don't really want to wait for the one to do his thing.
Yeah.
I think this is a really interesting one. I agree, like this concept that like, oh yeah, we could go out. We don't have to like live by Zion's rules. We're free.
So we jumped in head first. Damn the torpedoes. Damn the Matrix. Damn the real world. Life's too short in both worlds to wait. Yeah, I like that.
I did not care for this one.
Oh really?
I didn't. I do enjoy the thought behind it, the idea of what these characters represent, but I don't think. I'm willing to cop to the idea that like perhaps the copy that I read was just not great. It was hard for me to read. It was hard for me to follow. I just didn't really connect with this one at all.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I like the concept a lot, so I think that sold me a lot. Just like this is exactly what I wanted out of these comics, so I'm glad that we did them this week. Is like all these different avenues of like, what about this scenario within the world of the Matrix? I'm like, this is exactly what I want.
Yeah, basically, I just wanted like more Animatrix.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go on to
The Matrix, an
easy one by Tommy Lee Edwards, both writer and artist. This is the one about the bank heist, where they're trying to get the cash because the cash is actually attached to a virus that upon touch will cause a problem.
I love this.
So they have to basically run a bank heist, which I thought was really cool. But they also like cross paths with a person who's already in the Matrix, but is also trying to run a bank robbery. It doesn't know what he stepped into.
And it ends with our main character getting shot.
Right? The idea,
our main character goes through the phone right after they've told the dude. Right, that's the other dude because he was being told.
Oh, the girl. Sorry,
that's why the phone is hanging there. Like she tells him like you're in the Matrix essentially, and he's just left there to live with that. And will this be him freeing his mind? Who knows?
I love goggles. I'm a big fan of goggles.
Yeah, that's a really interesting concept of like the money has a virus attached to it. To kind of another system of control for the computers.
Yeah, I had to really look at it when I was reading it because I'm like, wait, why do they give a shit about cash in the Matrix? Oh, it's a virus.
Yeah,
that if it touches people, it'll be a problem. Well,
I kind of like that concept, to be honest, because
yeah, I do too. I think that's really cool.
Like once you get into the big hole of the Matrix, it's like you don't care about things like money or food or whatever. Like, yeah, you get a joke from Neo in the first movie, was like good noodles over there, but then like when I was reading this, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And it's kind of maybe that could be the Matrix, like what we say is like money and power corrupt, is like, yeah, because you're touching a virus, you get a whole bunch of that virus, next thing you know you're corrupted. That's like absolutely. the more I thought about it, I was like, that makes so much sense, Because there's
Yeah,
a reason I put all my money apps and my banking apps, I have them on the same folder called Root of All Evil.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that assessment, Ben. This is very much one of those where, like, if the Matrix had to be a franchise like Star Wars, which God forbid I don't want at all, but if it had to be, this would be one of the spin-off movies I want to see. Like, they have to do a heist in the Matrix, and like, why?
Oh my
because
God.
the cache is a virus.
See,
And I'm
I
like,
just, like-
holy shit, that's awesome.
My mind just went to like doing like the Cloverfield thing, where like it's an entire movie where you don't realize it's a Matrix movie until 45 minutes
Holy
into
shit,
it.
that'd be so good.
Ah! That'd be great.
That's why I want another video game. I don't need a Neo video game. I want a AAA video game of the Matrix.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, I don't really want to open that door because I kind of want, like, it just to stay, like, as far as films, like, I kind of want it to just stay what the Matrix is. But if you did have to open that door, this is the kind of shit I would want to see. I want to see, like, exactly what you said, like a heist movie, and then, like, partway through, you're like, wait, this is in the Matrix?
Just like an hour in, somebody turns into an agent.
You're
What?
like, ooh!
That would have been, that's
Oh man, that'd be insane.
that would
And
be super cool. Yeah.
yeah, I'd love
Can you
that.
imagine, like, that kind of feeling, like it's the end of Split when Bruce Willis shows up and you're just like, you're in the middle of the theater an hour and then you're like, hold up, what? Man, movies just can't get you like that anymore.
Agent White shows up.
God, that'd be so cool.
Okay, so next up is Let It All Fall Down by Paul Chadwick, both writer and artist.
EPOs.
This is the EPOs. This is the one where they've kind of hacked into a program that actually allows them to see into the machine city. So they've kind of found a hack outside of the Matrix that is observing people within pods, and including like themselves. And it's these two characters connecting over it and wanting to spread it through an email system throughout the inside of the Matrix. So basically everybody in the Matrix would learn that this footage existed, and it would technically like awaken a bunch of minds all at once.
Yeah.
I thought this was a really interesting little story.
Yeah.
I love the idea of these characters, like, and the fact that like the agents aren't looking for him. So like the moment when like she gets caught outside of the convenience store and gets blasted through the door, and he freaks out and goes in back and waits to die, but they don't come. And then when he steps out, like everything is like it didn't happen. I'm like, oh, this is such good Matrix.
When it's at the end of the story, and like he throws a chair through a window,
And it turns into like gelatin and like taffy, and it bounces back. That's stuff I wish we got more of in the movies, like where they're like really messing with him when they come for him.
This was my favorite.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I really like this one. No, I just really like this one. I thought the whole idea of like they can see outside of the Matrix. This is a person living inside of the Matrix, able to see outside. It was really exciting. It's kind of tragic in a way with what happens to the girl. It's very well written and paced. You really want him to, like, you know, it's impossible, you can't do it, but you really want him to send out this email, and then like I just really like this one. I just thought this.
And then
really
the agents like they make the wall disappear, and there's no exit that used to be there, and their cars are coming in. You're like, damn.
This is definitely not tied to it, but this reminds me. Specifically this scene where like they're looking at like themselves, and I'm like there are others listed in the text too. Is that me? The way you furrow your brows, he's doing it at the same time. It's like Sati doing her like Matrix magic between two different worlds.
Yeah,
like this could have been like the beginnings of like how you do
right
that.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah, I thought this one was really cool.
Yeah. Oh God, get it?
Okay, so Get It is a very quick, short one. This is by Peter Bagge. Peter Bagge, writer and artist. This is very much just a cute little one where the Matrix is the film that you get to watch the Matrix, and it's the guy who didn't understand it, and the others are like talking him through it, and right at the end you find out that the two have been talking to him are agents who are glad that he doesn't understand.
And it's a good thing that they don't get it right, Agent Lewis. Correct, Agent Davis. I'm like, oh, of course they can't get it.
That was wild.
This one was actually one of my favorites. I liked that because at first I thought, oh man, this art style is just too goofy. But the more I read it, and I was like, it kind of reminds me of a Sunday comic strip, especially because right after when you see like The Matrix, Baby Geniuses, a bunch of other movies that came out at the time, and then it's like these guys are just trying to get this dude to understand what the movie was about, and it turns out I love the twist that they were agents the whole time. Even like I want to say like halfway through, it was like, if these guys are agents, and it's like, there they are. Because I can only imagine that there were people who saw the Matrix back in '99 and they didn't really understand what the heck was going on.
Oh,
It's
of
like,
course.
what is the machines? It's like, you remember that giant squid thing? It's like, well, that was a monster. It's like, no, that was a machine.
Me. It was me. It was me.
It was me.
Yeah, but I like that one.
It's cute. It's fun. And the last one is Run Saga. Run
Saga's
by
back,
Keron
everybody.
Grant, both writer and artist.
This was another one of my favorites. I really liked the art in this one.
Yeah, I love the art.
It's great art. That's definitely true. This is about one of the Oracle's children, and going out on her own and getting into too much trouble because she called an operator, and so engaging with agents.
There's one specific panel, and it's gonna be hard to see on green screen, but it's her jumping out of the building, and it's just all the emotions of her jumping down onto the street. It's like there's something to do in Nightwing all the time, where it's like 10 different like acrobatic moves to land. It's just really good, like anime style art, like manga, I guess. Yeah,
it was really good art, and also like kind of like Saga, how she was like sick and tired of being cooped up with the Oracle, so she's like, I'm gonna go on my own. She realizes, oh, I'm in too deep, but then she eventually gets out. But then the agents are still following her, so it's like, oh, you're not safe yet, Saga.
Yeah. Oh, the reveal at the end. It's like, good, start the trace.
Right,
like she's out good.
Yeah, she's unwittingly leading them to It's good stuff. I think the paneling is very, very solid on this one. It looks really nice.
This like, and this is absolutely no disrespect to any of the other comics, like, because like I like a lot of them, but like this felt like the most like, this is a comic I would read on stands. Like this felt like to be like issue, like the first couple pages of like issue 1 of a comic. I'm like, oh man, like I would like more of this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like a whole little limited series 6-issue series
about Saga,
Saga and her encounter in the Matrix. Yeah, that'd be cool. Anyway. Without any further thoughts, those are the Matrix Comics Volume 2 that we went through. I really enjoyed them. Thanks for taking me along that journey, y'all.
It's Matrix month, baby. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I like engaging with more what if stories within the world of the Matrix. I think is a ton of fun.
I agree.
I love the Matrix, so I was happy to do it.
Hell yeah.